Hey everybody, welcome in. My name is Carah Burrell. Sometimes I go by Nuancehoe. I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Ryan Fisher. Welcome. Thanks for doing this live with me. Thanks everyone for joining.
Yeah, glad to be here. Big news today. Big announcement.
Big news. Tim Ballard has something that he has been breadcrumbing his audience for days. And the announcement, I guess, was pretty much worth the wait. It's Tim Ballard going nuclear on the LDS Church, of course. So this is a podcast, Timmy Did What, that me and Ryan host whenever there's Tim Ballard news. So welcome to the program. Let's get into the news. Play intro. Yeah. We have fun. However, it is a serious day. Let's get right into what Tim Ballard has been all about. Okay, a couple days ago, everyone, out of nowhere on Tim Ballard's Facebook, he leaves this. It says, "It is with a heavy but determined heart that Catherine and I will be making a major announcement tomorrow." So that immediately got me screen grabbing and asking Ryan, what do you think that's going to be? Ryan, what were your first guesses and inclinations? I put up an Instagram story. I had people guess as well. Way too many people said divorce, which is a joke.
Yeah.
But what was your first guesses?
I thought he's going to, and this could still happen, pronounce himself as Joseph Smith reincarnated, and he's taking back reins of the church. And but that
Totally could still happen.
Yeah. Totally could still happen. Yeah, not ruling it out. But I love all of the comments that you got. People, because he, I guess, included Catherine in this announcement, a lot of people thought it was something to do with their marriage. And
I'm like, you guys, I got angry. I was like, do I need a podcast 7 days a week now? Do you think Tim Ballard would ever announce that his wife doesn't love him anymore, or that anyone doesn't love him anymore? Like, he would go to the grave with that secret. No, not this Tim Ballard that I know. Some people, like we've been talking about, furthering himself from the Mormon church, going full MAGA Christian and aligning himself in that way. In a way, it is pretty much that. But also, thank you everyone thank you everyone who is in the chat right now. We would love if you could like this video, leave a comment for the algorithm to help it get out to more people. We talk about Tim Ballard because, yes, we are ex-Mormons. It's not about, we're just talking about the corruption within the church. Tim Ballard is a propagandist for just some of the worst things in the world. And there is real sex trafficking happening in the world. Tim Ballard is a con man and an accused sexual assaulter. He is a man who is grifting his way from one place to another. And we like to call that out here on this channel. So if you want to see the downfall of Tim Ballard as he goes absolutely nuclear on the Mormon church, you're also in the right place. So to get this message out to more people, we have buttons below that you can click on for our Venmo, donor box, and Patreon. So if you want to throw some fuel on the fire, if you want us to be able to make more content, we cannot do it without some money. So I hate being the girl who asks for money, but it is important. Just want to put that at the top of the show. Thank you. All right.
Hey, we were talking about Tim Ballard. We have to be asking for money because that's all that he does. Bryn in the comments correctly pointed that out, that the stupid announcement has a lot to do with money. So yeah, it goes along with the theme of this podcast.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Some wonderful supporters. If you are a supporter of the channel and if you have given money, then I already love you and want to tuck you in at night and kiss you on the forehead. Diamond Dave, thank you so much for our first super chat.
Yeah, super appreciate it.
From Mongolia. Hot damn, Diamond Dave.
Whoa.
All right. Okay, getting into it. The comments on this absolutely went wild. People had a lot of funny things to say. I just have to read my all-time favorite, Pamela Pope. I will admit that I did roast Pamela Pope when I read this. I have to move us off to the side. So you guys know who Tim Ballard is, but some of these Mormons are just not quite paying attention, right? And Pamela said, maybe they're going to serve a senior mission, although most of his adult life, he has been serving a very difficult and challenging mission. And then the comments are like, Pamela Pope, if he's serving a mission, I hope they're having heavy hearts about it. Yeah, they wouldn't have heavy hearts if that was the case. Pamela, you don't serve a senior LDS mission after excommunication. He no longer wants to be associated with the LDS church. So anyway, I was waiting for the announcement last night, and I was loving the drama of the comment section while we were waiting for what he had to say, because he didn't announce it.
Bless her heart. Bless her heart.
Yeah, bless her heart. Yeah, I was entertained because it didn't drop till 11 p.m. last night or something. So then he kept us waiting. He's posting different things. You can tell me, Ryan, if you think those are also relevant. We were a little bit worried by this post when he's talking about Jesus, like, he died for me. He died for truth.
Yeah.
The least I can do is be willing to die for this truth. The least I can do is be willing to lay down my life for those he loves the most, his sweet suffering children. Tomorrow, Catherine and I will be inviting you to see how far you're willing to go for him and his suffering children. That's some cult talk. Now that is
serious cultish stuff going on. And he says, like, we are willing to, all caps, die to save kids. Are you willing to die also? That's straight up suicide vests running into a building full of people type of talk. If you take that logic and run it to its full course, like, I mean, we even started talking about this in a group chat. Like, is he going to like go suicide vest on the Mormon church and run the church office building? Like, we have no idea. I mean, that's like pretty extremist language going on there. So I'm glad that didn't happen.
Metaphorically, I think he is. Metaphorically, he is running in with something strapped to his vest. It's open bags asking for money in a way. Okay. Yeah, it was kind of scary language though. Then he also, this is going to be important because then he wouldn't drop it quite yet. Then he says, the next post and press release is so delicate and so important. We are still just dotting every I and crossing every T. The announcement will drop tonight. Okay. Without further ado.
All right.
Okay.
Who thought that I was going to announce a divorce or something. Hey everybody, I am here to give you the message that I announced yesterday. I'm so sorry for those of you who thought that I was going to announce a divorce or something. Not at all. Catherine and I are very, very much in love and very, very much united. We're in love, and in love under a covenant with Jesus that no man can lie about. I want to tell you something before I announce this. I'm going to read something to you, a press release that's made by myself, my wife, legal and production team of Hidden War. It's very, very important. I've made two covenants, many covenants, but two important
music is so moving. Like, I love that he's added that production element of this soft, sincere, heartfelt music.
Yeah, and it's laid on very thick, very thick. Okay, I'll make it a little bit bigger too. Count the number of times that he is snuggling this thing with his wife. Biggest pet peeve of mine, besides all of the allegations, is what is this nuzzling you guys are doing? Okay.
Once, okay. One is with my Savior to rescue his children at any cost, even if that cost is my own life. I've proven that, and I believe that. Another covenant I've made is to protect and defend his kingdom. So many people think that I have been hurting something they love. After you listen to what I say, you'll know that I'm not doing that. I am attacking something you hate that has infiltrated a piece of something you love, okay? I am trying to live both of these covenants by doing what I'm doing, what Catherine and I and our team are doing right now.
And I know they're lies because I know the evidence, and I know my husband. And he's not perfect. He's not perfect. And trying to figure out how to rescue over 7,000 children, not just him personally, but through his organization and as he's led teams.
Okay, pause there. We got to talk about that. So first of all, that's I'm not attacking something you love. I'm attacking something you hate is the ultimate like gaslighting there is. He's trying to convince people that they hate the church that he's attacking. It's like, I know you love the Mormon church. I'm not attacking something you love. I'm actually attacking something you hate. Ultimate gaslighter, whatever. But then Catherine says there that, we're trying to figure out how to rescue 7,000 children. Well, Tim didn't actually rescue 7,000 children, but through the organizations that he's started and stuff. What we're talking about, that 7,000 number is so hotly debated. What we're talking about is if OUR simply gives money to buy dog food for the dogs that are on the canine team of law enforcement that end up doing a raid there, and they rescue 20 children from that raid, they're taking credit. Like OUR today is simply a funnel of cash resources for different agencies. They're not doing any rescuing. They're not doing any operations because it was shown that those are ineffective and ethically wrong in a lot of ways. I love that she admits that, well, Tim didn't actually rescue 7,000 kids, but these organizations that they funneled the money through his to other organizations, the other organizations are doing the rescuing. That's what she's saying. So full admit, I mean, I just have to point that out because that's so crucial to understanding this whole thing. Is a great thing that she admitted that Tim isn't doing the rescuing. It's through his organizations. The money has passed, but not all of that money went to all those organizations. They keep a big chunk of it for themselves. And so anyways, but I digress. We can continue.
Right. And in her perspective, she's trying to the layout of this, the editing of this announcement is him saying, hey, Mormons, basically speaking directly to Mormons, I would say, or anyone who believes in like this leftist, Islamist, deep state, people infiltrating the governments and things that are good all get infiltrated, like we talked in our last video, that I'm actually going after something you hate. So still with you guys. And as a matter of fact, remember my super hot wife that I'm still in love with, she is gonna remember I'm still a hero. I'm a hero in her eyes. We're talking about how I'm a hero, still hero status. So that's where we're at. Okay.
And I just have to I just wonder how the conversation went where Tim's like, listen, in this announcement, people thought we're going to get divorced. We need to show them that we're in love more than ever. So
totally,
camera guys coming over at 1:00, get your makeup, do your dress, and let's like have these intimate moments where we're nuzzling each other and holding each other.
Yeah, it's these old clips that were on Troy's channel. You know what that's from, right?
Yeah.
That's when he's you can tell because he's a little chunkier then too. It's like he doesn't look like that, but it's like roll that nuzzling clip over and over again, put that on repeat.
I just have to imagine that at some point Catherine's got to feel like used and just being like strung out there as a propaganda tool, as a PR image, these fake stage intimate moments with her husband for these kind of videos. And I don't know. I couldn't imagine putting my wife through that. It's kind of disgusting. And there's got to be some interesting conversations about that, but it needs to be done because it's all for the audience. So
yeah. And like we discussed, wondering if they're really like leaving the LDS church, like she goes to the temple. She works in the temple. She, in her mind, she needs her husband to have a temple recommend, or like, how is their union still working? Like that is like, not that they're getting divorced, but how are they genuinely still having a union where they believe that they're getting into the top tier of Mormon heaven if Tim has been excommunicated? Like it would make a lot of sense for them to announce like that they are leaving the church together. Right. So, okay.
You're not breaking up with me. I'm breaking up with you.
Yeah.
And taught people how to do this.
Oopsie-daisies.
This has been groundbreaking work. So you're going to learn things. You're going to be like, okay, we ran into this situation and that could have been dangerous. Let's adjust. This has definitely been like oh, okay. I guess we shouldn't do operations this way anymore, which is
okay. Pause right there.
Because they were rescuing people.
Is that how the sexual assault allegations all went down? Just like, Tim's being accused of raping multiple women and sexually assaulting his coworkers. Oh, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore. That's really your response, Catherine?
Right. because as we've discussed in our last video, like the exact quote from the statement that OUR gave when they booted Tim out of OUR that they gave to Vice News was that he was participating in actions that were against the standards and practices of OUR, right? Like his own family members had to turn him in and say, we should probably not do practices anymore like this, Tim. What kind of practices? I have all these already in my like StreamYard. I have all these clips already ready to go. So I'm going to play them. It's only 18 seconds long because I'm like, and reference, like I'm a DJ, like in a booth like this.
Doing this for almost 20 years. I'm grateful to tell you that we draw lines. We have rules, very specific rules. So we keep our morality and my faith, keep my covenants that I made with my wife. And I have.
Well, sounds like you had some adjusting to do. Low-key adjusting. Okay, keep playing. All right, now he's going to get into reading his statement some more. So we just talked to Catherine and Tim.
Is the press statement. This is going far and wide. It's going to every outlet, every podcast around the world. Every government official already has it. And we're doing this to defend the kingdom, to defend children who are being hurt by a lie. Tim and Catherine versus the deep church, deep state, deep church, you get it.
Remember how he said that he couldn't release his press statement because he was working on it extra hard, crossing every T, dotting every I. I've never doubted his competence more than what is on the screen right now. Good God, Tim Ballard.
The deep church. Is that what it says? Deep church. Got it.
That's how people spell my name. It's close enough.
Yeah. He doesn't want the Mormons to know like that he's attacking their church, so he's kind of like mixing up letters. He's calling it.
Don't give him some intentional. No.
Yeah.
This is him, half a bottle of whiskey down, smacking his face against the keyboard, saying, "This will do." That's what I say.
That'll do. That's all right. We get it, Tim. We know where you're going.
Following the 2023 success of Sound of Freedom, President Trump urged Tim Ballard to run for the U.S. Senate in Utah, which Ballard publicly announced and was winning in straw polls by up to 80%. In conjunction with President Trump, Congress also publicly proposed the Sound of Freedom Act, which included action against Utah-based sexual abuse of children. Weeks later, representatives of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, in collaboration with the George Soros-owned anti-Christian pro-pedophile tabloid outlet Vice News, now defunct, commenced a massive defamation campaign against Ballard, thus effectively knocking him out of the Senate race and thwarting Congress's efforts to pass the Sound of Freedom Act. Ballard and his wife, Catherine, were then hit with false allegations and lawsuits that alleged sexual abuse by the couple. Entities inside the church then used the tabloid defamation to do further damage to Ballard's reputation by handing the lie to their LDS ecclesiastical leader with instructions to excommunicate Ballard. The LDS leader followed the instruction and denied the Ballards access to scripturally guaranteed due process. The LDS leader refused to provide any names of those who were making allegations, thus making a defense impossible, and refused to allow a key witness to testify, even as that witness stood outside the leader's door.
So he's going over pretty much what he already said on Troy Abel's podcast that we've been covering on our channel the last couple of weeks. And he's saying it a lot more coherently this time in one fell swoop of reading it from his paper. Good on you, Tim. We're following where you're going with this. Ryan, your thoughts so far?
Well, he made one subtle change in there. He says he's trying to connect that the PR statement from the church denouncing him, which took out his political career, was motivated to stop him putting forth legislation as a newly elected senator called the Sound of Freedom Act that would have held responsible the sexual abuse that was going on in Utah. So that's like a kind of a new spin that I see is like, he's like, I was actually going to go after the Mormon church, but when I got to be a senator years ago. And so he's like, he's kind of massaging the motivations behind this PR statement. At first, it was like, as a leftist shill, mid-level manager, as you call him, named Doug, that was taking his political views into his own hands and killing Tim's political career. But now it's like he's saying, well, actually, he's rewriting the history to say, well, because my political career was going to go in the direction of actually exposing the sexual ritual abuse that was happening in Utah. So he's like doing a revisionist history with his own story. You follow? And so that's an interesting twist.
Yeah. You can really see the wheels turning over the last couple of weeks and over the last couple of years of throwing shit at the wall of like, okay, well, obviously the sex traffickers are after me was his first thing. That was what he came out and said right after these allegations. He's like, I don't know who these women are. His first press release from Spear Fund was like, this is the same old thing. When you go against sex traffickers, they are going to come out against you. You don't need to pay attention to any of the women's stories or anything. But I think he's just been holding on to his hope that he can get back in the LDS church, and he can't, as we talked about in our last videos. And yeah, just, all right, is this going to work? Okay, I'm going to add to the story here. I'll add to it there to just have a believable, plausible narrative of how he's still the good guy, going after the right people and making waves where he can. And I would say completely blowing up. The 99% of like mainstream Mormons are not going to buy this. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like he is effectively running into the LDS church building metaphorically and blowing everything up by saying all of this. And I also want to acknowledge, holy smokes, super chat me up right here. Why isn't it showing up for me? All right. It's not going up on the screen, but I will in just a second when it wants to do it. Here we go. I can't pronounce your name, but it looks beautiful. I'm inspired. Carah and Ryan, you two are amazing and your content is so appreciated. Thank you. Saya Snack. The $50. That's
call you Sal for short.
Call you Sal. Thank you so much. That is going to help us continue this podcast so much. Appreciate you. Okay. And guys, keep the comments coming. I would love to read as many as I can, but let's.
I want to know what you guys are thinking if you're seeing the same things we are.
Yeah.
Central to the conspirators was Kelly Suarez, the female trafficker depicted in Sound of Freedom, who sued Tim, Catherine, and Angel Studios. She has since been convicted of child trafficking, and the other lawsuits have, for the most part, ended in similarly tragic fates for the false accusers. Civil and criminal action is pending against all conspirators, and indictments are expected very soon, and in multiple countries. In the meantime, authorities inside the church have refused to retract the obvious defamation, which is now being used by groups like ISIS and traffickers and pedophiles.
So many, just...
Where do we begin?
Tim is on an island that he has crafted of his own reality.
He's in like some sort of Minecraft world.
Yeah, just this fortress of lies on top of lies, and people don't know any difference. And he knows that they don't know any difference. I mean, when I was waiting for his news to drop last night, I was like looking at his top fans in the Facebook. I have it on my Instagram right now. It's really funny. But I was like posting what his top fans follow and like what other pages. And they're all freaking AI pages of farm girls saying, hey, I'm a 20-year-old and I want some, like just some AI videos of propaganda. And this is you can make Tim Ballard go away, but like people just want to feed off of these narratives of good versus evil, even if it's AI, even if it's Tim Ballard's made up stories. It frustrates me because these are real people, real victims. Kelly Suarez is in jail right now for 20 effing years because
she's the ringleader.
That
she's orchestrating all of this. Somehow Kelly Suarez has the church PR department in her control. I mean, he said she's the ringleader. Like she was the ringleader in his fictional movie Sound of Freedom, and now he's continuing. He's like, yeah, I like that villain. I'm going to keep it going with that villain narrative of Kelly Suarez, and she's the ringleader behind all of this. So I guess Kelly Suarez is also running the Mormon church that's doing satanic ritual abuse, that's now attacking Tim. Like that's what you expect us to believe now. Like Kelly's an impressive person, but not that impressive.
I know. Justice for Kelly. God, Tim, like, please tell me somebody is like seeing through these lies, or they're like, this seems awfully convenient, Tim.
Oh, and also ISIS.
Yeah.
He throws in there now. ISIS is using the PR statement from the church to hamper his efforts to save kids in Syria. Like, that's now a new line of reasoning. Like, I guess ISIS follows the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on social media or something, or reads Mormon fringe news all the time, and are like, ha, we got him. Mormon church denounces them. We got him. Now we're going to use that to inhibit his efforts to try and take the kids we're trafficking away from us. Like, I don't know. Like, help me out, Tim. You got to give us some more steps. There's like 2 gaps there between ISIS and the Mormon church PR statements. Like, where what's the dots? How does that connect? Please fill in the dots for us, because I need some help here.
Yeah. Oh, Tim. Okay, so he's now talking about how the statement that the church gave to Vice News, the pro-Soros, defunct tabloid, pro-pedophile organization, which is just like, thou doth protest too much, actually. Like, but be that as it may, Tim Ballard is trying to put all these loaded language to tell people what to believe. And then on top of that, the only thing that he was excommunicated over was that piece of paper from Vice News is what got him excommunicated. He couldn't have his buddy, which I would guess whoever's standing outside of the door was probably Matt Cooper, did all these, still his best bud, Matt Cooper, was in the strip clubs with him. And pretty much every story that you read in the lawsuits, Matt Cooper is there, doing all of the nasty things. And I would guess that like Tim Ballard's like, I have it's a scriptural necessity that you have to let me have my buddy who I did all of this stuff with cover with me and come in the door right now and testify on my behalf. Like, all right, Tim. Okay.
Pedophiles in general to obstruct Ballard's work. Some theater chains have even refused to show the docufilm Hidden War, set to release on November 14th due to the refusal of people inside the church to retract its lie. Children remain in the crosshairs of these lies and these conspiracies. We ask all people and theater chains everywhere to read the court documents and a letter sent to church officials in March of this year pleading for relief so the truth might be known and children will no longer suffer under this conspiracy. This material can be accessed via the link in the bio at Tim Ballard 89. Ballard's team will now immediately be broadcasting a short docuseries to clear the way for their rescue missions. It's called Backfire, the excommunication of Tim Ballard.
All right, so we're going to have a lot of work before us. A docuseries, Ryan. Everybody out there, clear your schedules. We have a docuseries coming out.
Docuseries. Backfire. Yeah, so this gets into the stupid part of this announcement. Like, the church allegations, suing the church, that's serious. That's pretty heavy. But now we get into like, that's just like, I didn't see coming the stupid part of this. Apparently theaters in Utah don't want to air his movie, his documentary that he made about himself. And I think probably a lot of other theaters around the country. So he's doing a call to action for his followers to try and get those decisions reversed. And that's the stupid part of this, because he desperately needs the money from the revenue that would be generated from that movie. Also, the movies that he produces, the documentaries, are just purely fundraising marketing tool. And I was involved in the first one, The Abolitionists, and I was involved in conversations about that movie, and it's totally not viewed as something to raise awareness for human trafficking. It does do that, but the primary purpose of his documentary series movies about himself is to get people to open up their wallets and give him and his organization money. That's absolutely the whole purpose. And we'd even have conversations. I actually bowed out of the abolitionist series when he wanted to go into fictional movie making mode rather than journalism, which is my background. And so I have had no creative control over the first one, even though I started the whole concept for the abolitionist movie. And it was turned over to a couple of filmmakers who were from the fictional narrative world in California that were willing to craft a story arc, a character development based around the hero, pick a villain, and make as close to a Hollywood type of fictional movie as they can using real footage of real people. So all of this is part of his money-making generating machine. Get a movie out there, shock people with horrors so much that they'll feel like total pieces of crap if they leave the theater not willing to do something. And of course, the only thing they can do, and the thing that Tim wants them to do, is to hit the donate button, give them money, send money their way so that they can right the wrongs that they show in the movie. So they create the problem, create the disgust, and then they ask for people to open up their wallets for him. So it's purely a fundraising, money-making endeavor. Actually, I shouldn't say purely. Some kids do get saved in the process. You'd have to be trying really hard to not save kids after 10 years of doing all of this. Some of the money does go to saving kids. However, the primary motivation was for all these movies is a propaganda piece, a fundraiser piece. And so people, thankfully, are finally waking up to that. The theaters, at least in Utah, don't want to air his fundraising movie in their theaters. And so the stupid reason for his announcement is to try and reverse that course and mobilize his minions and all of his supporters to put pressure on theaters to do that, because he needs the cash. Daddy needs some money. He's got bills to pay. So
yeah, my question is, if the theaters were playing the movie, do you think that he would still be doing this? Like, is this where he had this big money-making venture where he's like, I'm going to release this movie. It's going to be bigger than Sound of Freedom 2 because it's a real story. But now he's hit a brick wall because the theaters in Utah aren't even playing it. That's where he's going to make his millions of dollars. Do you think that he's like, okay, well, because this piece of my big master plan is not falling into place, now I have to go AWOL, release this whole press video. I have to call on the public. I have to go call the Mormon church part of the deep state satanic abusers. Do you think he would do that if he didn't have a movie coming out, or is this like his Hail Mary?
Oh, it's for sure. He's just writing a new narrative where he's the hero, the savior, and he's putting away the bad guys. And so it's just a new narrative. It's just a twist of his old narrative, and it's so simple. Like, all you need to know about this guy is that anybody that opposes him or speaks bad about him or reveals things that he's doing that are wrong or unethical, well, they're part of the evil pedophile trafficking rings. And now that the church has excommunicated him, denounced him, he's just going with that line. Well, it's because they are part of the trafficking rings now. And then he sees a YouTube video with Jason Preston on We the People podcast, who's interviewing sexual ritual abuse survivors. And he's like, I got it. That's the evidence that I need to show that they are part of the trafficking ring, even though he was making money as an insider on the church for over 10 years. Now that they rejected him, he needs to prove that they are part of the evil traffickers, because that's just his MO. That's what he does.
Yeah, it's just his MO. Exactly. Thanks, Ryan.
Now, like I said, this is going far and wide. You have a choice, okay? You can continue to think that I'm attacking something you love, when in fact I really am attacking something you hate, okay? That has infiltrated something you love. And you can continue to hate. You can continue to send defamation to places like Cinemark. Just know that we will, and the authorities will be sending subpoenas to Cinemark and to everybody in the media that you're sending stuff to, and we will expose you and determine whether you're part of this conspiracy or not. Now, you can do what I hope you'll.
So he's saying there are people out there who are telling Cinemark specifically, don't play this movie. and he's going to expose them as part of the conspiracy.
Yeah, and he's gonna have the authorities send subpoenas. First off, there's no authorities. He's using language to make it sound like there's a criminal investigation, being done at the law enforcement level. No.
Yeah.
No, it's him and his lawyers. Like, subpoenas can only happen if it's during discovery part of an actual case in court. So maybe that will happen, but he's using language like there's a criminal investigation going on. I don't think there is. He would actually announce that. So what authorities, Tim? What authorities are going to be sending these subpoenas to Cinemark? Like, there's going to be some like low-level person in Cinemark that's going to get a subpoena from Tim Ballard saying, we demanded a deposition of you to see if you're part of this multinational conspiracy to take down the #1 child rescuer. And they're going to be like, what the F is this about? We just thought it was a crappy movie and we didn't want to play.
Yeah. How many movies has Tim Ballard made? I can think of at least like 4 off the top of my head of like documentaries that he said he promoted for a long time, and then they just never got released. They never got funding. They never had the support. Like, Sound of Freedom took years and years after it was done being made to be bought and distributed, right? But so many movies that Tim has made, like, they're kind of on the cutting room floor, homeboy. Like, maybe people, it's not that there's some big conspiracy about everyone just love sex trafficking. It's more that we think that the movies that you're making are really exploitative, and we don't like centering you as the star because we don't like looking at you, and we know that you're full of shit. So if you ever need a really good video to watch after this one, guys, go to my YouTube channel and go look for like the YouTube documentary that I made on Tim Ballard in Haiti that I spent a very long time on. That goes over one of debunking his video and his claims about what he did in Haiti, about trying to get kids out and making this whole story about saving kids from an orphanage, when really he just took those children and put them in a different orphanage where they were abused, and a couple of them ended up needing to get abortions. So that's all laid out in that other video. Some horrifying stuff, but he's there to save the day. That's what his entire propaganda scheme is all about. Make these big budget blockbuster movies, put them in theaters. Then you do a little bit of digging, and it's not just not true. It's the opposite of what he's actually after. Like, he's putting kids in harm's way and leaving with the good PR, the good press, while people are still left in poverty and in some horrible situations. He couldn't care less. So that's one of the reasons why I'm really fired up about this movie not being shown. Okay, continuing.
And one more point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, his first movie documentary series that I started, I developed the concept for what the abolitionists. He didn't want to go with National Geographic Channel, who I had lined up to air that TV series or to produce it. He wanted to control the narrative himself in-house, and he didn't want, and he asked me, I remember this conversation just like yesterday. He asked me, well, how much is National Geographic going to pay us? I'm like, well, it's not going to be much, but it doesn't matter. Like, we're not doing this for the money. It's going to be in over 100 countries across the world. So it's going to do massive amounts of good for putting fear in the hearts of traffickers all over the world. It's like game, set, match. We put a documentary series or a TV series together that shows that there's people and organizations that are setting up stings to come after you. That's going to do an enormous lot of good, but TV series don't pay well. And he's like, well, if it's not paying well, then we got to figure something else out. And I'm like, really? Like, really? You're just, money is going to get in the way of this? And his enthusiasm for working at National Geographic Channel just fell off a cliff after that. And that's when he brought in fictional filmmakers who made it in-house with the storyline that he wanted, massaging the footage to tell the story that he needed to tell to praise himself as a hero. And then he tried to sell that out to distributors, to networks. And you know what happened then? Nobody wanted it.
Nobody wanted it. It had to be re-edited into one movie instead of 6 episodes, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 1 or 2. Yeah, I think one hour and a half. And he was able to get that in theaters as private screenings. It was private screens where they rent out the theaters, I believe. And I went to those, and then he'd invite through his contacts with Elder Ballard, famous people, Gail Miller was at one of them, and wealthy people that he wanted access to. And so he'd hold these private screenings, but nobody wanted that movie either because it was poorly done. It was a propaganda fundraiser piece. The production values were terrible. And that didn't get a wide distribution back then. And so I don't know what he's thinking, why he'd make another one about a new situation and going off to Ukraine and elsewhere and think that theaters are going to want to buy it or that a distributor is going to buy it and pay him up because like all of his other films have crashed and burned that he's produced in-house. So, but this one has a conspiracy behind it. So I don't know. Let's keep going with conspiracy. It fits his narrative.
Well said, though. That's all good context that it's not really that much of a hot cake. People are not super excited. Okay.
Do and get Matthew 18 compliant and read all the supplemental material, the entire letter. All the information is now going to be revealed. Read it. It's written by an amazing legal firm, several in fact, and I stand by it. I've sworn under oath to those things, and I will continue to swear under oath. And I hope that you will call the theaters, call Cinemark, call the theaters, and call Doug Anderson, who's the one who perpetuated this lie.
Did he spell theaters wrong? I couldn't catch it. Didn't seem right. Call the theaters. That was very intense.
And continues to do so by being silent and ask them to simply retract. We don't need an apology, just retract for the kids. This film is the tool that will rescue those kids. If people don't see it, kids don't get rescued. The film isn't being shown places because of the lie. You get it? So help us, help the kids, okay? Now the third option is to do nothing, to be neutral, okay? That's a lot of you are gonna wanna do that. And I understand that. That's how I felt for almost a year. But just know that at this point, neutrality is not really, it's not really an option. Now I understand the threats. One individual, good brother from the High Council, went to this ecclesiastical leader and said, "You're doing wrong. You are violating policy." He said, "You're doing wrong. You are literally violating the scripture." There is a policy that righteously reflects the words of Jesus in section 102. But this person has a third policy, his own policy, under the title of Judge of Israel. It doesn't interpret anything like he says. It inverts it. In all cases, you are to have a counsel and witnesses. He says the opposite. You get no counsel or witnesses. That's an inversion, not an interpretation. That is, in fact, unrighteous dominion. Unrighteous dominion is penalized by amen to the priesthood in another section. Of course, this person can override that, I suppose, as well, like he thinks he can with everything to make himself feel good. But at the end of the day, it's not going to work. Okay, it's not of the Lord. And so neutrality is not really an option, but I have to say that when one good man stood up and fought for us, this same person that same night took his temple recommend away just for standing up for righteousness. Okay, so that tells you a lot. And then a picture of Jesus fell off the wall in that moment. So I understand that if you come out and do this, you might be retaliated against. Okay.
Or
picture of Jesus crashes to the ground.
I know.
Sure, Jim. Sure.
He's using these really paranormal experiences, I guess, to try and justify himself as being on God's side. And proof of that is that when he was in his excommunication disciplinary council with his stake president, who he still won't name by name, it's like he's still trying to get him on his side. Yeah, picture of Jesus on the wall fell off, and it's like, see, Jesus is on my side. What you're doing is wrong, and that's proof.
Yeah, and as we've discussed in our other videos, it's really pretty cut and dry. Like, Tim was kicked out of OUR for the couple's ruse and all kinds of allegations that have a lot of merit to them, that Tim was causing problems within his own organization that he founded. That happened before the Sound of Freedom released, before the church released any of these statements, disavowing Tim Ballard. That's one really convenient thing that he leaves out. He doesn't talk about how he was thrown out of his own organization. He should have all of the same anger towards OUR as he does towards the church, but he pretends that he stepped down for conflict of interest reasons when The Sound of Freedom was coming out, when that's not what OUR actually says and what we know from the evidence of what happened with these internal and external investigations into OUR. So he just likes to skirt that issue. And now when the statement comes out from Vice News and the church, it obviously came from the top down from the prophet. And Tim Ballard here is saying that, no, I need to have a different council that agrees with me. I need to have a council that doesn't agree with the prophet and with the entirety of the church and the entirety of like OUR. I need a council that lets me have my bro come inside here, and I need to face my accusers, when it's really cut and dry, Tim. Like, everyone wants to get home by like 6 p.m. It's kind of like, can we wrap this up? The prophet gave us this statement. They said, what they said, it's going out around the world. We're cutting ties with you. You're bad for our brand. And we're really done here. But Tim Ballard is saying, no, because of reasons, when it's pretty cut and dry, homeboy. So sorry.
Yeah. A great comment that we haven't touched on by Shit Talking Librarian is that Lori Vallow, who murdered her kids, also claimed that she knew that her autistic son, was possessed by an evil spirit when she saw a picture of Jesus fall off the wall. So,
really interesting.
Yeah, a couple people have commented on that. And I haven't seen that personally, but yeah, a couple of people have pointed that out in the comments, that Lori Vallow claimed that she saw a picture of Jesus fall off the wall, and that's what convinced her that her kids were possessed by evil spirits, and that justified murdering them and stuff. So it's just interesting because Tim Ballard also is part of the Tom Harrison bandwagon. Yeah. That's his spiritual guru, who also was the prophet spiritual guru for Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, who ended up committing murders. So like, if demons are real and that's how they communicate, man, picture of falling off the wall, I don't know if there's a parallel there between those nut jobs and Tim Ballard that I don't know if he's aware of or not, but that's an interesting point. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, that is very interesting. And also just wanted to say thank you so much for the super chat, Susie. $20. She says, good to see you. Appreciate that. That will go a long way. All right, Tim.
Okay. But I still maintain that neutrality is not an option. And as you consider what you're going to do, I would ask you to consider these words from Dietrich Bonhoeffer about neutrality in a situation where children are literally getting beaten, bloodied by ISIS, by traffickers, as they use this lie. Silence in the face of evil is evil itself. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act. I love the kingdom. Catherine and I love the gospel. We love the scriptures. That hasn't changed at all. Okay, I want you to know that. What we are doing is defending Jesus and his kingdom, and we're defending his children.
It says, call your nearest theater to play Hidden War November 14th. And any graphic designers out there, just, we're all having a sigh of what the F is that? I don't like what I'm looking at on screen, but
help them out.
I don't know. The pausing, the inflections, I hate everything about it. After I watched this last night, because he made us wait till 11 p.m. to post it. I texted Ryan and I said, I don't think I've ever hated this man more. Really. Like, this was the most lie-filled, self-aggrandizing, like vomit-inducing, pat on the back, wannabe big boy Tuffy Tim video, and I hate everything about it. I have nothing else to say. I'm out of words. My hatred for Tim has reached its ultimate height. Yeah. And just true to form, there's always a profit motive. There's a donate button. There's some sort of monetary cause at the end of everything that comes out of his mouth now. And this time it's call the theaters, demand that his movie get played in the theaters, because that's going to be his big moneymaker that he's been counting on for so long. He's been teasing it forever. And he's made a lot of money off of the fundraising efforts of previous movies.
and that this one is getting cut off at the knees is like unacceptable to him. So he's trying to rally his audience to reverse that course, and he needs the money. He needs that money. And so, of course, true to form, call to action. If it's not a donate button, it's call the theaters and demand that they buy his movie, that they support his fundraising efforts for the children, of course.
For the children, because ISIS doesn't want you to see this movie. And that's what really gets Americans off to the theaters. If ISIS is upset about you seeing this movie, like what reality do these people live in? Like I said, go looking through the stuff that his fans say and that they follow, like maybe he's serving a senior mission, or like this AI videos that just make absolutely no sense. Like I really am getting shocked at how much we live in an alternate reality. I'm like,
yeah.
Right.
Some people say, like, you know, does anybody still listen to him? And the sad reality is yes. Like, you look at his Instagram, like his Facebook page, look at the comments that are on some of these. There are a lot of people that are buying it hook, line, and sinker and are eating it up. And so that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this, you know, to try and snap people out of this cult mindset with a cult leader that is feeding them, you know, half truths, total lies on some occasions, and misdirection, you know, and trying to take advantage of real crises. You know, satanic ritual abuse. Yeah, that happened in Utah, and it probably still happens today. He's trying to capitalize on the shock and awe factor of that. Shock and awe factor of the Ukraine war, shock and awe factor of the Druze crisis in Syria, shock and awe of children being trafficked. Those are real things that are really happening. And people are still wanting to get behind that cause. And I have total respect for people that want to do this, but can you see the profit motive? Please, like, look through it all and demand some accountability on where your money's going if you're going to donate to him and his causes.
And ask some questions. Tim, are you still doing the couple's ruse?
Yeah.
Are you going to be doing that in Syria? Are you going to be doing that?
And you notice this whole rant of him he completely omitted the fact that he's talked about in other videos of what the reason for the excommunication was. I mean, he says it right there that a stake president said that he has been found guilty of having sexual intercourse with somebody not other than his wife. In addition to the state church's statement that he used Elder Ballard's name for business and profiteering motives. But yeah, he completely omitted that fact that was what the state president put forth, right?
Right. That's important, don't you think, Tim?
Yeah.
Want to read another super chat from Diamond Dave? So kind. Diamond Dave says, back for a bit, love the video. Would be cool to chat about Mormonism here in Mongolia and other countries. Tim targeted specific countries because the noise wouldn't fly in most parts of the world. You know, America, land of the free, home of the brave. But Tim Ballard found his workaround of where he can exploit different governments and different agencies. And you know, if it's too close to the nest, sometimes it's not advantageous for Tim, but the children in Haiti, the children in Guatemala and Colombia are easier to be taken advantage of and harder to follow up with. Your thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, my thoughts are like, you know, taking a page out of Shalice's culture consciousness perspective, to remind people, especially in Mongolia and elsewhere, that Tim is not your typical member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He's not your typical Mormon. He's kind of this fringe extremist, and I hope nobody judges all of Mormonism based on this poster child, even though he was a poster child for the LDS Church for a long time. He's gone off the rails. So there's a lot of good people out there that are part of the members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that are Mormon, that don't go off the rails like he does. And I think I'm super proud. There's a lot of things that happen in Utah that are pretty discouraging. You know, their defense of ecclesiastical exemptions when it comes to sexual abuse being reported to bishops and sacred. That's disgusting. And there's other things that I got a problem with that we talk about all the time. However, the theaters refusing to play Tim Ballard's content in the heart of Mormon land, that's a win. That's cause to, I feel proud to be a Utahan for that reason, at least. So I take that as a win.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for saying that. I am the nuancehoe after all. And just to finish up, Ryan, I looked at the links that Tim Ballard mentions, like the press release of, like there's a longer one. It's about 54 pages of detailing the timeline of events of everything that's happened and how everyone's corrupt and out to get him. And then there's the shorter one of what he just read, basically. And I'm going to just share this for a second on the screen. And I can leave this in the description below as well. But this is just the press release that it says to LDS church authorities from Tim and Catherine Ballard, timeline and appendix surrounding the false excommunication of Tim Ballard. Tim and Catherine Ballard and others have testified to the following under oath and multiple legal proceedings and will continue to do so. All events below are documented via phone records, phone recordings, and other documents. And all of the events can be and will be testified by 2 or 3 witnesses. Note, this document has been edited. Note, we present this information in the spirit the Ballard family hopes of locking arms with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in rooting out any negative influences that may have contributed to the concerns expressed herein. That is very fancy legal jargon for the Reformation that Tim Ballard's gone through. It's like, we want to link arms with you guys as your PR spokesman who is still employed by the church, who is part of the deep state. Can we lock arms with you guys as we call you satanic, sexual abusing pedophiles? Like, ooh, that is some lawyer jargon there.
Yeah.
Smoothing around those edges, Timmy. Oh, that's so funny. What else? So this thing is a timeline of what a great guy he is, how cool he is. Everyone knows how cool he is. And at the very bottom, let's see. I mean, this is probably for another video because this is his entire case for why he's awesome and everyone sucks. So yeah, that's an entire conversation right there. There's so many points in that we probably need to address. I mean, the summary of it that I take away, and I haven't read through all of it, I've just gotten Tim's Cliff's Notes version, is the conspiracy within the Mormon church is that there's a deep state or deep church that he calls it inside the church that apparently the apostles and prophets don't have control over. I mean, yeah,
that's how I'm reading his comments. Are you hearing the same thing?
Yeah. The church because it definitely didn't come from the prophet. If the prophet knew about this, he is still a prophet, seer, and revelator. He would not have been okay with this. Elder Ballard would not have been okay with this. There must have been something where the deep state like jumped on and intercepted the communications between the two of them. And the kind of you're omitting a little bit too much about how they're not prophets and seers, revelators. It's really a lose-lose there. But go on.
Yeah, I mean, it's so he's naming the number one villain that behind all of this as a guy named Doug Anderson, the PR representative for the church, whose official job is to issue the press release statements for the church. He's been there for 15 years. Apparently, he's part of this deep state that is in control, and that the 12 apostles and the first presidency and President Nelson didn't have enough clout or power to revert that statement, which they don't support, according to Tim, which they don't like. I don't know how you like mental gymnastics that, because it's been 2 years now. Tim's still excommunicated. His appeals to be reinstated in the church have all been rejected. And the procedure that I'm aware of is they have to go through the first presidency. If you get excommunicated and you want reinstatement in the church, it has to be approved by the first presidency. Like, I know that personally from a family member that was excommunicated. It had to be approved by the first presidency itself. So his appeals have gone to the first presidency and have been apparently rejected. However, the first presidency is still in support of Tim. They would never do that. They're the true servants. However, there's a deep state that must be controlling them. So he's wanting Mormons to believe that the leadership of the church that we see in General Conference have lost control, and the church has been infiltrated by evil people, Satanists, pedophiles, deep state people. And he's weaving this very complicated conspiracy to try and explain that. And so I don't know who he's like really thinks going to join him in this cause. Like the faithful members of the church that believe and that their prophets are the leaders of the church, they have to accept that they've lost control of the church and there's a deep state in that they don't have any power over. Or there's the people outside the church that don't accept them as prophets, seers, and revelators. They're not going to like make any demands. So I don't know. His logic for who he's trying to gain support from pretty much comes down to this narrow margin of fringe people like Troy Abels that by conspiracies believe everything and then are extremely paranoid people. And that fringe minority, I don't think they're the kind of people that are going to be turning over large sums of money to you, Tim. I hate to break it to you, but this is the wrong sales pitch to get your donate button to go off the charts and get money. But he also sees this as a spiritual crusade. So there's
cannot understate the spiritual crusade that he's on. Because if we just deleted religion from this entire thing, Tim Ballard wouldn't have a leg to stand on, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is really gross. Should we keep going and talk about this stuff? Because we could spend another hour on this right here. It goes into talking about claims in the lawsuit directly refute the apparent basis for Tim's excommunication. And he just shits on all of the women and lies about their stories. And that's, point by point, that would take hours, but he goes down and then look where it goes to. The same women make false allegations against the LDS church. And then it leads to, who else had distractors? Joseph Smith. You see this section? Oh. Joseph Smith also had detractors. We do not seek to equate Tim with our beloved prophet of the restoration. However, we sense that much of what Tim and our family have experienced at the hands of the church the past year can be attributed to administrative decisions within the church that are focused on how to protect the public perception of the church. We suspect that women or spokespeople for them approach the church with coordinated accusations about Tim and President Ballard and threats of lawsuits, public denouncements, which scared administrators into a hasty unilateral action. Hopefully, it is starting to come into view that the intentions behind the accusations are not beneficial to the church or its mission, nor are they oriented towards spreading the truth and light to the world. The women and their attorneys have repeatedly used the church's actions, the September 15th statement leaked excommunication news, as proof that Tim must be guilty. While protecting the reputations of the church and the ecclesiastical leaders is a worthy goal, it is not one that would have boded well for Joseph Smith, just as it has not thus far boded well for Tim or our family. To this day, Joseph Smith is still accused of being a fraudster, an adulterer, and all sorts of other claims of ill repute. What are the reasons that Joseph Smith faced and still face such horrible accusations? Okay,
dude.
So he's not going down the conservative. He's got one last Hail Mary with his Mormon audience, with the church directly, before he completely abandons and goes MAGA Christian. What? How Tim Ballard is just like Joseph Smith? You really want to go down that the road of the guy who married 14-year-olds, the guy who married mother-sister pairs, who married 12 women who already married to other men. Like, we already know that you stole his playbook, Joseph Smith's playbook, Tim. We already know that you did that. We already know that Tom Harrison gave you several blessings, kind of anointing you as the future prophet of the church to lay ground for the second coming. We already know that you think a lot like him in the way that you run your organization, your spirituality, and your abusive sexual life. But I'm surprised that he's putting this in here. I'm actually like, what a Hail Mary. What a Hail Mary this is. Should I keep reading? I'm entertained.
Oh, geez. I don't know. There's so much to unpack there. Like, yeah, calling on Joseph Smith and that he was persecuted in the same way I'm being persecuted. He's, again, writing himself into church history, writing himself into this persecution complex that he has. Like, when he's doing well and he's being endorsed by the church, that's proof that God's on his side. And now that he's being attacked by the church, well, the persecution is proof that the devil is trying to take down the true servant and God is on his side. You know, he writes the narrative to like suit his purposes both ways. And I can't help but draw the parallels correctly to Joseph Smith. Like when he's, marching to Zion's camp to go save Missourians. It's like, God is on our side. We're righteous army of Zion, going to right the wrongs and seeing all these swords. And then when he gets there, he's like, oh, shoot, maybe we shouldn't have done this. This is a bad idea. Well, this was a test by God and the persecution of the saints is proof that God is refining us. He's just, he's writing narratives to have it both ways. Both ways.
Yeah. Is it possible that the jaws of hell have attempted to destroy him with the same energy and for the same reasons that they attempted to destroy Joseph Smith? Is it possible that the jaws of hell could include false accusations against him, just as they did against Joseph Smith? Okay. This is going to be a fun line of logic to go down. What do you guys think? Yeah. Well, this
he's
is
going
his last
full
Hail
on
Mary.
For the fundamentalist people that gravitates towards that kind of message.
Yep, like my parents included. Well, we have so many more things that I wish we could go through today. I'd like to go through this with a fine-tooth comb and pick out more things. There's also a video I sent Ryan the other night where Tim Ballard was on like an extremely far-right. So he's been on a couple podcasts that can't even go on YouTube. They have to go on Rumble because they're so insanely MAGA right-leaning and say all kinds of things that get them banned on YouTube, I guess. So when somebody's kind of behind a paywall like that, they say even crazier things. So and another day we'll have to go through those, Ryan, because Tim Ballard really lays out exactly who he's fighting against, because he's speaking to a certain audience, and that certain audience has certain buzzwords that they want to hear, and he has them lap that up. So I'm very fascinated by this demise. That he came out saying everything about the church being infiltrated, and all of that talk came before this press release. Like, does he not have like a handler to tell him? Yeah, how about this one first? Okay, those are things you write in your journal, Tim. Those are inside thoughts. Instead of like screaming on Julie Green's podcast about the church not being really Christian and the church being run by satanic pedophiles. Instead of that and Troy Abel's show, well, how about a press release? How about our lawyers kind of go through this? Isn't that so interesting that like the way he's walking back things and the way that this is so finely tuned and worded? Mm-hmm. Maybe I've done that sooner. Just speaking out loud here. Some free advice. But
yeah, then there's also the video that I want to get to that he just posted a few days ago, hawking merchandise and the justification for that. The painting falling off the wall is part of his sales pitch. It's so good. So we'll have to go. I mean, we're already over an hour into this one, so I'll save that for another day, but we'll get to it soon.
That means everybody, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you don't have dollars to send us in our Venmo or our Patreon or our donor box, or the super chats, those are all amazing and go a long way. And we couldn't do that without funding from donors. But if you can't do that, please like this video, please leave a comment, and please make sure to subscribe. And you can also hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss our next update. So I'd love to hear your guys' predictions, your thoughts, anything you want to leave down in the comments. We try to read all of them. And everyone say thank you to Ryan for putting up with Tim for so many years and then joining me and putting up with me. I'm a very stressful business partner. Me and Tim are not too dissimilar, to be honest. So thanks for making this podcast with me, Ryan. You're the best.
No, very, very dissimilar. I totally refute that 100%. This has been a completely different experience. You're not taking advantage of anybody in gross, disgusting ways. So thank you for that, Carah.
Oh, I try.
Round of applause
Thank
for
you.
Carah.
And you guys can also follow me on Instagram. You can follow Ryan on Substack and your Instagram. I'll leave those links down below in a minute. And last night I was on my Instagram, like asking for predictions for what you guys think this big announcement is going to be. And you know how Instagram has like the stories once the first slide goes away, but the other ones are still there. And if it's not in context, it's kind of confusing. So Britt Hartley messaged me and she was like, wow, I thought all of these messages about what they thought were going to happen to Tim, which is like divorce, and all these things. Britt's like, oh, I thought that they were talking about you for a second. And I was like, everyone is being so mean. Because I was like, the first couple slides of what people predict Tim is going to say in this announcement, I was like, I probably should go think about my life if any of those apply to me. But not divorce. No, that's not it. It sounds like he's suing the church. It sounds like some subpoenas are going to be levied and some calls to Cinemark are going to be made. But we'll keep our finger on the pulse for everybody and check back in, and we will let you know what the next actions are. Any other final thoughts or predictions, Ryan?
I'm excited. Get the popcorn ready. The church, I don't know if they'll issue a response to this or they'll be like, wait, what's this fly buzzing around? Like, get this out of here. I don't know. We'll have to see coming days, weeks, months, see if there's he's demanding a response. He's making a lot of noise. He's calling out Doug Anderson, who's apparently public enemy number one in the world of child trafficking and ritual sexual abuse. So we'll see if Doug issues a response or if they're just really annoyed with this guy. I don't know. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because this is, like kind of the Chihuahua barking at a limo going by. Like the church is a $100, $200, $300 billion organization at this point. When are things going to kind of tip the dominoes over to where they're going to issue another response to maybe another Soros-backed pro-pedophile newspaper or not one? We'll see. That's what I'll be interested in, is who do they give their press release to? Hopefully to us. Okay. All right. All links are down below. Every one of you, especially leaving the super chats. We got some great super chats today, guys. Thank you so much. That'll go a long way. And I'm so glad that we stayed up all night to find out what Timmy did. So now Timmy did.
What? What did Timmy do? He's suing the Mormon church today.
Bye, guys.